Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Wilkins, and I'm a PhD student at the Music and Audio Research Lab at New York University. Today, I'm excited to be presenting our work entitled Bridging High-Quality Audio and Video via Language for Sound Effects Retrieval from Visual Queries. This work was done through a collaboration with Adobe Research. The problem that we're trying to solve here is, given an input visual query, such as a video frame, retrieve relevant sound effects to match that moment in your video. I'm going to start by playing a demo video in which I show sound effects retrieved using only input video frames and no text metadata in the retrieval process using our proposed model. So taking a step back and motivating this problem, when you're trying to find the perfect sound effect to match a moment when you're editing a video, it can be a really difficult and time-consuming process, regardless of if you're an amateur or a professional media creator. And further, relying on the text metadata of your sound effects to find these sound effects for your video is not always ideal. For example, it can be difficult to describe exactly what something sounds like in words. And even if you can, this also assumes that the existence of high quality and detailed metadata of your sound effects, such as high quality file names and detailed tags. Additionally, if you're trying to train an audiovisual model for something like this, we need high quality, production grade audiovisual training data. And you might think, why not use popular data sets like VGG Sound or AudioSet? These data sets can be really noisy in terms of the quality of audio and video, and often there can even be a lack of audiovisual correspondence. Let's take a look at a quick example from VGG Sound.
Encontramos códigos de avería, por lo tanto necesitamos hacer un procedimiento de.
So even from that quick snippet, we see the audio is pretty noisy, there's speech, there's wind sound, and this video is actually listed under the category of car idling. So something like this might not be ideal if our end use case is matching high quality sound effects to high quality video. So what we're trying to move away from in this problem is using text-based retrieval and moving to audio-visual retrieval. So given an input visual query, such as this frame from a video, we want to retrieve something like this in terms of text effects. And more importantly, we also want to focus on using high quality data. So overall, figuring out a way that we can design a system for sound effects retrieval given a visual query for specifically production grade audio and video. So the core questions that we ask in this work are centered around two kind of main categories. First, data. Like I just talked about, how can we create a large-scale, high-quality audiovisual data set? And once we have that data, how can we train a multimodal retrieval system? Further, we really wanted to look at how do models that are trained using high-quality audiovisual data generalize to noisy data, such as these YouTube-based data sets, and vice versa. How do models trained on YouTube-based data sets generalize to high-quality data? So now getting into the method. What we have is a large data set of high-quality stock videos, a large data set of high-quality sound effects that do happen to have detailed metadata, and also, we have open source and powerful pre-trained large language models and foundational vision language models such as CLIP. So how can we use those things to create a high-quality audiovisual data set to use to train our contrastive multimodal model? The first part of our proposed method is the automatic audiovisual data curation pipeline. Given a library of high-quality sound effects and associated text metadata, such as in the example you see here, with a list of detailed tags describing a motorboat sound, we use a large language model, namely Bloom from Hugging Face, to convert these detailed and very audio-centric tags into a simpler, more natural language text query. We also have access to a high-quality stock video dataset. We extract a number of frames per video and use this as a retrieval pool for this pairing process. Then we use CLIP, a powerful foundational vision language model. Given in a text query associated with a sound effect, we generate the text embedding from using CLIP's frozen text encoder. On the image side, we get the image embeddings of all of the frames in our video dataset. We compute a simple cosine similarity, retrieving the most similar video frames to a given text query. This allows us to create high-quality audiovisual data pairs, as each text query maps back to an original sound effect. This pipeline is very scalable, as for one sound effect, you could retrieve many relevant images. We'll use this as our training data moving forward. So now we have our training data set of high-quality audio paired with high-quality video frames. From there, we want to create a model that can create a shared embedding space for audio and visual features so that we can complete our downstream task of sound effects retrieval from visual queries without the use of text in this retrieval process itself. So given our training data set, we take the PANS audio encoder, which is a CNN-based audio encoder. We allow that to be fine-tuned during training. We take the frozen clip image encoder and we freeze that. We train a contrastive learning model using the info NCE loss to project audio embeddings and image embeddings into a shared audiovisual embedding space. From there, we're able to complete our downstream task of, given an input visual frame, find the most similar sound effects to this visual frame in this multimodal shared embedding space. And this also allows us to find, the top 5 or the top 10 most similar sound effects, not just a one-to-one match here. So now to get into some of our results, and starting with our quantitative results. So recalling our task of, given an input visual frame as a query, retrieve relevant sound effects to that frame. The baseline models that we choose to use here are wave to clip, which is a frozen clip image encoder with an active resonant audio encoder trained contrastively using VGG sound videos as training data. And again, those VGG sound videos are YouTube-based and they can be quite noisy. Audio clip is trained similarly using an active clip image encoder and an active ResNet 50 audio encoder, so jointly training the audio and image encoder and even the text modality as well. And this is trained using audio set videos, so similarly noisy YouTube-based videos. And we will show the results quantitatively in terms of the category precision at 10. So what this means is, given an input visual frame, we retrieve the top 10 most similar sound effects. And we look at the category of those sound effects because there can be multiple matches. So the file name metrics are not as relevant here. And we look at the category of the ground truth. And we say, if 4 out of 10 of the retrieved sound effects are of the ground truth category, we give that sample a 40% score. And this is the average over our test data sets. And I'll explain each of the test data sets as we go. So first, we start with the Pro Sound Effects or PSE test dataset. This dataset is comprised of synthetic but high-quality audiovisual pairs. And this is the natural test dataset of our training and validation data overall. So this was created using the same pairing process that I discussed further in our proposed method. We see here that on our PSE test dataset, our models, which are pictured in the green and the blue, significantly outperform the baselines of audio clip and wave to clip. Along similar lines, but on a different audio-based dataset, we use the Audition sound effects dataset, which is public and freely available. So we pair stock videos with this Adobe Audition sound effects dataset to create this dataset. So this is a slightly more challenging, slightly out of domain dataset for our model, as it was trained on the PSE sound effects library paired with stock videos. And we see here again that our systems are able to significantly outperform both audio clip and wave to clip. So these are both really good things to see. And we see here that, our model, which was trained on these synthetic but very high quality audiovisual pairs, are able to outperform the baselines. The next question that we wanted to ask, and this was crucially important to our analysis process, was, can our model translate or generalize to real video data? So these kind of noisier, more in the wild YouTube-based data sets. And that's what we have here on the right with the AVE test data set. So AVE is a curated data set of around 5,000 audiovisual pairs or audiovisual videos, so naturally occurring sound and video together. And we see here that our model is still able to outperform the baselines, even though these baseline models were trained on YouTube-based data sets like VGG sound and audio set. So even though our model was trained on synthetic data that's very high quality, our model can still generalize to YouTube-based data sets. And we show on the left-hand side that this doesn't, the converse doesn't hold. Wave to clip and audio clip aren't able to generalize well to the high quality data, but we still are able to perform well on real data despite being trained on a fairly different domain of data and different style of data. We also performed a user study where we designed a web app and asked users to essentially rank which video has a sound that better matches the image, using one result from the wave to clip baseline and one result from our proposed system, randomly ordered. So I'll quickly show what that experience looked like. And we found that polling 28 users and having them each rank a number of these questions, that 67% of the time users preferred our retrieve sound effects versus the baseline wave to clip system. So as we start to think about future opportunities in this space, we'd like to move from using single video frames as queries to video clips. And along the same lines, leveraging the temporal component of the video a little bit more via architectural changes, such as introducing maybe a transformer architecture. We'd also like to experiment with other more recent video data sets, such as Ego 4D or Epic Sounds. So in summary, we proposed a new data curation pipeline for generating high-quality audio and visual data. We showed that contrastive multimodal models that are trained on high-quality data can generalize to both high-quality and noisier data, but the inverse doesn't hold. Models that are trained on noisier data can't generalize to our high-quality data. We showed that our model quantitatively and qualitatively through our user survey outperforms baselines. Thank you very much for listening to my talk. At this QR code, you can find a project website with many more examples and the link to our paper. And I look forward to seeing you at WASPAA.